we're going to be looking at the upcoming Nintendo Switch games. So we will be starting with September 3rd, which is going to be here in about 15 minutes for me. We have a game that we played on stream. We played the demo. There's a free demo available on the eShop, and that is Bakeru. Now, Bakeru is a game that already came out in Japan, so many reviews are already available. We already know it's a very solid game. I played through the demo on stream. It was a very, very fun demo. It is releasing to at September 3rd for $39.99. Right now, however, there is a pre-release discount at $35.99. And this is one of those rare situations where if you want to pick up the game, get the pre-release discount. There's no reason not to, because we already know it is a super solid game since it's a game that came out in Japan a long time ago, and the demo's super solid. You can try out the demo yourself. It is available and whatnot. So let's take a look at the trailer. And, I think I gave pretty much all my thoughts on it, but we will nonetheless take a quick look.
This is the story of another Japan, a world different from the one you live in. Bakeru.
The only thing about this one was a little finicky.
Fairy tale heroes actually exist. This is the story of Bakeru's first adventure in that world.
Oh, by the way, he's a tanuki. I love tanukis. The controls are also pretty responsive. Talking about Power Rangers, you can actually play this in the demo, but you actually get like a huge mech and when I played through the demo, I said it made me feel like, oh my god, it's like a Power Rangers stage. There's a lot of diverse gameplay modes.
Bakeru.
It's no Tiger Zord. No, man, it's definitely like you're right there. It's no Tiger Zord because it's better. It's like a Dragon Zord, man. The demo didn't click with you. Well, if the demo didn't click with you, then I would like hold off. No game's gonna make everyone 100% happy. I found the demo clicked with me, and the one part of the demo that was maybe putting me off is I was like, oh my god, if all the levels are just platforming and slapping through. But then when I saw that there were shoot 'em up levels, that there were you transform into the big robot, then you and as you can see in the trailer, like you have racing levels. Um, that's where really I was like, oh, okay, so they're gonna break it up. Like after every 3, 4 like platformer levels, you're gonna get a shoot 'em up level, you're gonna get a racing level, you're gonna get a robot level, and that's what the game needed. Because when I saw 47 levels, I was like, oh my god, if I have to do 47 platforming levels like this in a row, it might have gotten tiresome. But at the same time, there's a free demo. Why not try it out? Like before drop, like when there's a demo, there's no reason not to play the demo before buying the game. You know what I mean? Like there's no reason because exactly. So either you'll love it, you'll not love it. The one thing I was gonna say that was a little bit wonky about it is the camera is not that great. I find the camera like nowadays there's a lot of 3D platformers that have solved those camera issues, and this one like that's the one thing that sometimes annoyed me is the camera was a little wonky. But other than that, super solid 3D action platformer. Price at $39.99 might be a little steep. Some of you might want to wait for a sale, maybe pick up a physical instead. And the invisible walls. Yes, I know some people bug the invisible walls. It's just like I said, with the way that the character moves, and because I talked about it during the demo, I can see why they did it. Because the character has some really erratic movement patterns, and with the design of the levels, and I know it's not like an excuse because you can just redesign the levels in a different way. There was no real way to design the levels in that way with not having people drop off the side of buildings all the time, in my opinion. Of course, you could have just never designed levels to be on the top of buildings, but they didn't probably want those restrictions, so they used invisible walls, which is the solution to all that. But yeah, some people really don't like that. But yes, the levels definitely have a narrow path, and there are invisible walls in some areas. Okay, so that was Bakeru releasing, like I said, September 3rd, $39.99. To me, if you want a really fun 3D action platformer for this week, this is going to be a really good one. Now, next, we are moving over to September 4th, and this is going to be a super budget pickup for this week because it is a game, once again, releasing at a full price of only $4.99, and it is called Mining Mechs. We're going to look at the gameplay trailer. It's a little, I don't fully understand what the gameplay loop is going to be here, but I just want to tell you before we get started, it is a game that is available on Steam, I think for even $2.99 or something around there, so even a little bit cheaper than on the Switch. And it's sitting at a 9 out of 10 after 1,500 reviews. When I looked at it quickly, it was sitting like at a 9 out of 10 for 1,500 reviews, which does point me to thinking that, ooh, this could be a really fun game. And yeah, oh, and it's $1.99. That is very possible. And don't forget that Steam is also region sensitive, so depending on what region you're looking for, it can be different prices. But let's take a look. So like I said, it's hard to grasp fully from the trailer, and this is maybe gonna be a little, sort of not complaint, but like message, and I've done this in the past. Um, this trailer didn't really communicate the information accordingly. Like when you end a trailer, you should get nonetheless a general idea of what type of gameplay you're looking at, but it seems to be like a sort of management exploration sim, um, where the point is to keep upgrading your drills to drill further and further, to get more and more resources, to then upgrade your drill even further and get more resources. And that's sort of like the gameplay loop here. Yeah, sort of a SteamWorld dig, but without the Metroidvania aspects. What really, really drove me, like, where I can't picture, is there's online multiplayer and co-op. Like they say it here. Online co-op multiplayer. And that's where I was like, oh, so you can play with friends and like what? Like try to like that's where I'm like trying to wrap my head around. And at first when I looked at the trailer, I almost didn't put it on this week's list. Till for fun, I checked out if it did exist on Steam, and then I saw that it was sitting on Steam like at like I said, look, mining mechs. Yeah, see, it's $2.99, and it's sitting at like a 9 out of 10. Where's the reviews? I always look at the you see it here there that it's basically sitting at 9 out of 10 for 1,503 reviews. So I'm like, oh wait, this might be worth checking out for this week. Now, I don't think I'll have time to check it out for this week myself, but this should definitely be on your radar. Hopefully there are going to be some reviews are available. This might be a game I come back to next week, although I feel like as a budget pickup, sorry, my bad. As a budget pickup, I think that is going to be something decent for this week. Now, next, we move on to Shogun Showdown, which is releasing on September 5th. However, this one at a price tag of $14.99. Oh, there is a Switch version. If it's coming out on, I'm showing you this because it's coming out on Switch. I'm just saying that basically what I'm depending on to say that it was going to be a decent game is the fact that it was already on Steam before, and that it was very well received on Steam. So and it doesn't look like a game that's going to have like performance issues on the Switch. So it most likely is going to turn out to be a very fun game on the Switch. Now, next we have Shogun Showdown coming out on September 5th, $14.99. Now, this is a roguelike card-based game, RPG card-based game. So we have a roguelike card-based RPG. And honestly, I'm digging the pixel art. The only thing is we have a lot of card-based roguelike RPGs right now on the Switch. Is this going to be one of the top ones? I don't know, because we have Darkest Dungeon 2 that came out like not too long ago. So are you going to place this before that? I don't think so. But if you're looking for something more pixel arty that maybe is a little bit simpler, not as deep, I think this one looks interesting for this week. Once again, I would maybe wait for a few reviews, especially that it's at a $15 price point, to see if it has the gameplay to show up for this. But I'm going to be honest, it looks interesting. And oddly enough, this last little section of combat, and that's why I sort of like grabbed my mouse, is probably the best part of the whole trailer. And I'm like, dude, why did you guys wait till like 5 seconds till the end of the trailer to show us this like fight sequence? Because it looked freaking badass. Let's just rewatch that for a second. Like, I'm not sure how it works, but apparently you can like, it seems like you can combo the cards together. So even though it's turn-based, you can actually combo them. No, Rodrigo, I haven't had time to try Balatro yet, but trust me, I will. Like, it's on my must-play Switch games, but it's like I told you, right now, if I'm not reviewing it or playing it on stream, it's not worth me putting time into just because I'm out of time for even like I was supposed to have a deals video out today, and as you guys can see, it's not out. I'm hopefully going to push it out tomorrow, but I'm in that kind of scenario right now. You know what I mean? Where, like, if I'm not playing a game for the channel, I'm not playing the game. And I know it sort of sucks on the personal end, but it's got to be like that. It's got to be like that right now. Okay, so next we are moving on to why do I not have the date on this? God dang it. Give me a sec, guys. You know, when you prepare your sheet but you don't double check it. September 5th. Okay, so our next game is going to be also for September 5th. However, this one has a sales price of $24.99. So although the game looks really good, and we'll be looking at it in a few seconds, I do find the price point being a little stiff on this one. We're going to look at it nonetheless. It is called Gimmick 2, and we're going to talk about it right away after. Don't worry, this is not the game. Not too. That's what I have a feeling to grovel. Okay, so we have Gimmick 2. So we have a very Kirby-esque 2D action platformer. Once again, I do think the gameplay looks very interesting. It looks very solid. Yes, the gameplay looks very much fun. I personally do like the art style that they took here because, like I said, it's trying to be very Kirby-esque. However, it does look maybe a tad harder than a 2D Kirby game. Obviously, I'm going off of feeling here. Now, I did check out the reviews because this is Gimmick 2. So I did check out the reviews for Gimmick 1, you know, and this is sort of how I choose games normally when I want to review games and whatnot. I try to put the, you know, do an educated guess on the games. And when I checked out Gimmick 1, it was sitting at a, hold on. It was sitting at a Metacritic of 77. So if Gimmick 1 was almost tapping an 80, you know what? There's a good chance that Gimmick 2, if it can keep solid gameplay, we might be looking at a very solid 2D action platformer. Now, like I said, the one problem is the $24.99 sales price puts it in a very competitive category. Okay? It's like those, it's putting it in a category of like a A-tier indie game. To me, like indie games, 0 to 10 is like budget, 10 to 20 is like quality, 20 to 30 is like those, like the triple I games. You know what I mean? Like you have triple A for triple A games. Well, triple I is for indie games, but the indie games that are really like top notch. And then you have the indie games that are above $30 that are just should most likely not be there except for very exceptional cases. Like maybe one is SteamWorld Heist 2. Okay, it can be $40, but I do think it was like it's a little it's pushing the limit for an indie game. Exactly. Over £20 is triple I. Like over $20 US for me is triple I. And you know, the very, very rare exception can go up to 35 or 40, but we're talking about like trusted IP, major developer, fantastic game. And even at that, it's pushing it on the indie scene for me. But yeah. So nonetheless, I think it's something to keep an eye out on if you're looking for a platformer like this on the Nintendo Switch. However, sorry again, it's one of those that you might want to wait for a discount or a sale, because even though it looks good, I don't think anyone is dying to play that game like day one. Oh, very soon, very soon. Iron Meat reviewer live stream very soon. I've played through most of the game already. I kept playing it off stream the other night. I came back down late at night and I kept playing it. So I honestly, that is a amazing game. We played it. If you missed Jose, if you watched last Friday's stream, the last half hour, it's actually Iron Meat. We played the first 3 levels of Iron Meat in the last half hour of the stream. So if you want to check it out, you can just like skip right to the last half hour and I didn't put it in the title because I'm most likely going to do another stream for Iron Meat, and I didn't want people being confused between having 2 streams with the Iron Meat title on it. So but it's there. Okay, now let's jump to the September 6th with the Ace Attorney Investigations collection. So this is another series from the Ace Attorney series, but following a side character. This one is going to be $39.99 for the pack of 2 games. You're right there. I thought they were Yeah, you're right there, champ. I messed up. I thought they were following the investigator this time. I misread the description of the game, and you are totally right. So yeah, it is following Miles once again, which is the main protagonist. So my bad. My bad. I misread the description. I actually reread the description as I when you said that, and I'm like, wait, did I read it? And then I'm like, um, exactly. Basically, the way I thought is that you were following around the investigator this time rather than the prosecutor, but messed up. My bad. Sorry about that. Correction issued. We are following around Miles once again. But shows you that I didn't watch the trailer before we started tonight's show because I tried to watch some of the trailers, but not all of them, to make sure that at least some of them is fresh for me too. And Ace Attorney was a given. I didn't need to watch the trailer before. I knew it was going to be in the list. And we have one last game for this week. This is why I said we were going to be in a timeline. We're not that bad. We're 10 minutes over only because we only have one more game to look at for this week because, as I said, the other games this week did not catch my eye, did not look like they were necessarily going to be stellar games. I could be wrong. Maybe another one will surprise me like it happened a couple of weeks ago. But now we are going to be looking at Aero The Acro-Bat 2 that is going to be releasing also on September 6th for only $5.99. Now, we played Aero The Acro-Bat 1 on stream. I think I did a review, maybe. Did I do a review? No, I think we just played it on stream. I didn't have time to do the review on top of it. I wanted to, but I didn't have time to do the review. So we didn't do the review after we played it, but Aero Acro-Bat 2 is the follow-up. It is a port of a retro game from the 90s. We're going to take a look at it. It is fun game. The first one was fun gameplay. The second one, theoretically, was smoother gameplay. So it's going to be a port of the game, a retro game from the 90s. It's actually, yes, it is super hard. It's like the first one. The first one, these are super hard platformers from the 90s. But if they did like the previous one, is that there are save states now. There are things that you can actually put unlimited lives that actually make the games doable. Like the first one, I never finished it. On classically because it was just so hard, and when you lose all your lives you had to restart from the beginning, but now with the unlimited lives and the glitches that you have in the game, like it just brings the game up to modern standards. Because you know how nowadays like most games don't use the live system anymore. Why? Because that was just extremely punishing for no reason. Losing all your progress because you run out of lives and having to start from the start just didn't make sense when you're not in a arcade format. Like the lives idea, by the way, was a holdover in the 80s and 90s from arcade games. Because in arcades, you want to make sure the person dumps coins in. So what happens is that if you run out of lives, well, you got to dump more coins in. And by having them start over from the start, you're making sure that the only way they can finish it is by dumping more coins in. So, but there's no point in having that in a lot of modern games. And the more I get like I play games, the more I realize that like just throwing that in there to make a game feel retro, exactly, it artificially lengthened the games. But nowadays, it just becomes frustrating for players. But either way, I'm pretty sure Aero the Acro-Bat is going to come with similar options. I would say from my recollections, because we're talking about like 30-year-old memories, Aero the Acro-Bat was smoother than the first one from my recollection. So the first one, the one thing is that the hitboxes and the controls were really wonky. The second one still had wonky hitboxes, but to my recollection, the controls started getting a little better, more responsive, more quicker to answer. And you're right, it gives you a feeling of Sonic, but the controls are very different than Sonic. Just to let you know, there's an overall feeling of Sonic, but it is much more. The platforming is much more precise and much more intentional. You know how Sonic, you sort of run always to the right and you can sort of make your way through levels in different ways. Aero the Acro-Bat, it's like you've gotta know what you're doing at all times.